Hey, what is up, everybody? Hope you're doing awesome. And I have a quick. Hold on one second. I'm going to start this. I'm going to start this all over again. Hey, everybody. Joe McCall here. Take two. Take two. On this little video, I'm going to do a little instructional content here, teaching you how I comp properties and make offers in just a couple minutes. And I actually created just a simple brand new spreadsheet. I will put a link to this spreadsheet in the comments when I'm done with the video. But yeah, it's pretty cool. So I'm still playing around with this software, and I kind of like it because I'm streaming in one place and it's going out to multiple places. So if you have questions or comments, no matter where you're watching this, type it in right now. Type in the comments, just say hello, give me a thumbs up. Let me know that you like this video. And please ask some questions because I will do my best to answer them as quickly as I can. So on this video, again, I'm going to talk about how to comp properties and make offers in just a couple minutes. And I'm going to show you an example. I thought about this morning. I got a Voxer message for our private clients. They can Voxer me. And this is a family that is out of the country, and they asked me some simple questions about comping properties because they're getting overwhelmed by it. They're getting a lot of leads, which is good, but it's taking way too much time to comp the properties. And I thought, and I gave them this advice, and I thought this would be good to just reshare with everybody here on how to make properties, how to comp properties really quickly. So I wanted to first tell you that I'm doing a live webinar tonight, Tuesday, as we record this at 10 p.m. Eastern, talking about simple lease options. And if you want more information, go to sloclass.com. If you're watching this after Tuesday, today, still go to sloclass.com and you can see when the next webinar will be. Pretty cool. I'm excited about this concept. In it, I basically teach how you can do lease options to, if you just did one lease option deal a month, you could have over, in 3 years, one lease option deal a month, you could have over $1 million in equity and over $10,000 in monthly cash flow in 3 years. So doing just one typical sandwich lease option, conservatively, you should have over $1 million in equity in 3 years and over $10,000 a month in cash flow. Most of you could probably retire on that. That's pretty good money, right? So I'm teaching you how to do that on tonight's webinar, sloclass.com. That stands for Simple Lease Options. So back to this thing. How do you comp properties and make offers in just a couple minutes? Well, I'm glad you asked, because I'm going to share my screen with you right now. Hopefully I can get this to work. And we're in like that that mode that you go, whoop, it just kind of shrinks. Let me try this now. Okay, so let me give you a little context. This was a we do some marketing for clients, and this is I'm inside of REI Simple for one of our clients. And on the webinar yesterday, I demonstrated sending about 100 text messages to Craigslist and Zillow properties for one of our clients in Florida. And we got a response. We sent a message here: saw your property on Craigslist. I don't know if it's still available. Would you be open to leasing it for a year and then selling it? Thanks, Pam. And the response came back. You can see it right down here in the lower right. The response came back, maybe. Looks pretty good, right? So in this property, if we go down, we can see where the information come from. We use a company that goes out and scrapes hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of phone numbers off of Craigslist and Zillow every single day. So this was a property. I'm going to show it to you here. This is the Craigslist ad. It's a for sale by owner, which is interesting because you can see it's for sale by owner right up here. Hopefully this is zoomed in or out enough that you can see it. But this is a for sale by owner, but after you start looking into it, it's actually listed by a realtor. So I'm not sure what's going on, if the owner's a realtor or the owner's trying to help this realtor sell the property. Sometimes realtors will actually post properties in the by owner section of Craigslist just to get more visibility. But, to each his own. So what I did was, this was a house. It's currently listed for sale for $275,000 in Port St. Lucie, Florida. I just picked this property at random. This was a seller that said they were open to doing a lease option on a property. And so I just built this spreadsheet for you right here. If you all want it, type in the comments down below and say, heck yeah, I want that spreadsheet. Give it to me. Then if you say some nice things like that, then I will share it with you in the comments. Cool? Give me a thumbs up. Like this video, whether you're in YouTube or in Facebook. I think I even have this going out to Periscope right now. But just say, yeah, please send me that spreadsheet, Joe, and I'll share it with you. I'll put the link to the spreadsheet. Now, it'll be a view-only link. You'll need to go here to File, make a copy, or download it as a spreadsheet in your own thingy-majiggy. So when I do comps, it's real simple. I just take the average of the different online sites or the median, and that's what I do, right? So it's not that complicated. That's why it takes me just a couple minutes, or my virtual assistants a couple minutes to do that. So this house in particular, I look it up on the Google, Zillow, and I can see here that it's listed on Zillow. What's interesting too is that this is listed by a realtor, but Zillow doesn't have any pictures. But if you go to Redfin, it has pictures. And if you go to realtor.com, it's got lots of pictures. But Zillow does not. And, realtors have a love-hate relationship with Zillow, so that's just the way it is, I guess, right? Maybe that's why realtors don't like Zillow, is because right here, they're advertising to contact a buyer's agent, not contact the listing agent. It's easier to contact buyer's agents than it is listing agents. That's why realtors hate Zillow so much. But who cares? Like, here's contact buyer's agent. Contact buyer's agent, and that goes to the person who bids the most money to get buyer's agents. Anyway, don't get me started down that rabbit hole, please, Joe. So Zestimate is 278,856. 278,856. I go to Redfin. I like Redfin a lot, and I'll show you why here in a minute. Redfin is 271,094. 271,094. Realtor.com. Now, Realtor.com, if the house is not currently listed with a realtor, it'll give you their estimate of what the value of the house is. But they will not do that if it's listed with a realtor. One thing that's interesting, too, is Zillow says this is a 3-bedroom. Realtor.com says it's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. Again, Zillow, 3-bedroom, 3 baths, 1820. Realtor.com, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 1838. So I don't know what's going on, but usually, I don't know. Just trust the realtors, I guess, because they know everything. And maybe that's why the realtors don't like Zillow for this exact same issue. But one thing that's interesting about Realtor.com, if I scroll down here, they give you the median sales price for the neighborhood, which I like, actually. That's really good. Normally, Realtor.com does not like to give sold data because they want you to get that from a realtor, but sometimes they give you good information on here. So the median sales price is $245,000. I actually put that into this spreadsheet here, $245,000. RealQuest Express, if you go to RealQuest Express or express.realquest.com, express.realquest.com, you can put in an address there, and even though I'm not even signed in, you can get decent information about the property, and they'll give you their estimated value here, $271,000. And also what I like about RealQuest Express is sometimes down here, you can get the realtor's email address and cell phone or office numbers. And so here is this realtor's email address. So one of the things I like to do is target properties that need a lot of work or properties that have been on the MLS for a long time. Send an email to the realtor and say, hey, listen, I saw this property. How negotiable is the sellers with their price? Would they consider something in this price range, or would they consider maybe owner financing, lease purchase or something? So anyway, RealQuest Express says 271, so I put that here in the spreadsheet, 271. And one other place I like to go is PropStream. You've got to get PropStream. It's amazing. It's awesome. I use it every single day. I literally save a couple $100 a month with PropStream. I use it to get my lists, and I use it to comp properties, and I use it to get property data from the county records. And I'll show you what I mean. Here, if I click on, by the way, if you want PropStream, my link is propstreamjoe.com, propstreamjoe.com. Really important because when you use my link, they've increased the download limits. So you can download 10,000 of records a month, but if you're in the regular PropStream account, you can only download a couple hundred a day, maybe 500 a day. With my account, you can download up to, I think, 5,000 in one day. So you can get lists of vacant houses, houses with liens, high equity, free and clear, cash buyers, divorces, bankruptcies, It's amazing. That's where we go to get our lists for absentee owners with equity that we skip trace, et cetera, et cetera. It's really cool. But here is a property detail report on this one property. They give an estimated value of 265,784. So I put that in there, 265,784. The other cool thing I like about what they have here, you get all of the data on the property. If I click on print, it'll create a PDF, and I'll show you. It gives me prior property characteristics, prior history on the property. So your VAs can take this PDF and actually attach it to your CRM. Property details from public records, any liens and mortgages that are on the property, involuntary liens like HOAs or tax liens and stuff like that, prior loan history, ownership history, tax history, what the taxes are on the property, and then comps for active and sold comps in the neighborhood, which is really cool. A lot of comps there. And then pictures from any MLS listings. Pretty cool. This is a PDF report. I used to pay $150 a month from RealQuest Express to get this, and it wasn't even as much. PropStream is only $97 a month. And again, you can download 10,000 records of lists to market to, which works out to be about a penny per name. List source, you're paying 20 cents per name. I love PropStream. I can't talk highly enough of it. All right, so that is PropStream here. And obviously there's some discrepancy too with what they have here. They say 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. Maybe it's a county record thing. Maybe it's an LMLS thing. I don't know. But you can go here to get comps, and I'll show you this here in a minute too. And you can sort these comps by sale price and get some pretty good comps, and with criteria: last year, 0.3 of a mile, half a mile, whatever. So here, if we average them out, you get 266,000. Let me zoom in here so I make sure you all can see it. Can you guys still see this? If you can type in the comment box, let me make sure you guys can see all of this stuff and give me your comments. Nice. I'm getting some questions. Gape, sorry if I got that wrong. I'm using StreamYard to restream. StreamYard to restream. Jeff just joined REI Simple. Awesome. High five. Yes. Okay. Donnie's asking. Yes, I would like the spreadsheet. Thank you. Come on, Donnie. Comment down below if you want this spreadsheet. I'll give it to you. Yeah, so you're seeing the sites. Hey, Kelvin, how you doing? What's up? Hey, Kelvin. Donnie, yes. Okay, cool. You guys can see me and hear me. Nice. So let me go back. Oh, I just stopped sharing my screen. Let me share my screen again. And you get this thing here, and let me go here. Okay. Now, I took the median. I decided to do the median because of this really low number with Realtor.com. I'm like, what's going on there? Realtor doesn't have a comp, so if I took it out, I like the median because it removes the outliers. So let's just say the median home, the ARV for this property is actually 271. They're asking 275, which is really close, right? Now, when I make a cash offer, I keep it super simple. This is important. Pay attention. I take the 3 lowest solds and I multiply it by 80%. To make a cash offer, super simple. Take the 3 lowest solds and multiply it by 80%. Now, how do you get the 3 lowest solds? I'm glad you asked. There's 2 different ways I'm going to show you how to do it. The first one is in PropStream. The second one is in Redfin. And so in PropStream, I'm going to click on comparables right here. And I'm going to sort this data. You can do it by a half mile. You can do the last 12 months or 6 months or whatever. And so we'll just do last 12 months, 0.3 of a mile, sort it by sale price. And what I like to do is, again, remove the really low-end outliers and kind of look at where I get the first kind of clump of properties. It's not an exact science, but if you take 194,500, 195,000, and 210,000, that's maybe a good place to start. So you just put that in here. Boom, 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 you get the average, and you multiply that by 80%. So my cash offer is going to be 159,867. Now, they have this property listed for $275,000, and it doesn't need any work. You think they're going to take my cash offer for $160,000? Probably not. Probably not. That's why I love lease options, but that's not the only thing. I'm not going to give them just a cash offer. I'm going to give them a sandwich lease option offer, or simple lease option offers, I'm starting to call it now. By the way, you know the typical Mayo formula. You take the ARV times 70% or 75% times minus repairs minus your wholesale fee, you get a pretty similar number. You take the ARV times 75% because this is a hot market, and you subtract, let's say, 25 grand for repairs, and you subtract $10,000 for profit, you're going to be real similar, 165 to 160, real similar number. Just super easy though. Take your 3 lowest solds, multiply it by 80%, and that's your offer. One more final note I'll say about cash offers. If you don't feel queasy in your stomach and a little uncomfortable about making that offer, then you're probably offering too much. Okay? And obviously, too, on a house that doesn't need any work, it's going to be really hard to get an offer that low accepted because these comps, these are probably properties that needed updating and needed work. So a cash offer is usually not going to work for this type of seller unless they're really, really motivated. The chances of this seller being really, really motivated are not that great because it's listed with the realtor and they put in some rehab work. You can see in here some information about the work that's been done recently, updated, it says here. All right, so I want to show you one thing here, how I like to get sold comps on Redfin as well as PropStream. If you scroll down here, since this is listed, it's a little harder to find this because normally when you're scrolling down on any property in Redfin, you'll see a map like this, and there'll be a little link below it that says map nearby homes for sale. But when its property is currently listed, that is not there anywhere. And the only way I can find it is I go to this map and I click on this thing to expand the map. Now that link is right there, map nearby homes for sale. When you click that link right there in the lower left, what this does is it gives you a map with that property right in the middle of it. And then you can change the filters, zoom in or zoom out to see sold comps or active comps. And I like Redfin because it takes a lot of its data from the MLS. And it takes a lot of the sold data from the property county records. So right now, this property is right in the center of this map. And if this is active listings here, and I can sort this by price. And if I zoom out, I'm going to get more. You know, when I get more and more, the farther I zoom out. If I zoom in, I get less and less. I went from 51 to 19. I zoom in one more time, I'm going to only have 6. So if I want to look at solds, I'm going to click on more filters right here. And I'm going to turn off for sale, and I'm going to turn on sold. And I'm going to go to last year, last 12 months. I click apply filters. There's 14 homes. I can sort this up or down by price. Okay, and there you go. I have those same 3 lowest comps right here. And I'm looking at the square footage. This property that we're looking at is about 1,800 square feet. So this is 1,500, 1,500, 1,900, right there in that ballpark. That's good. Okay, so there's how you can get some good sold comps from Redfin. You also, once you kind of get a value, you want to see, well, first of all, let me rewind a little bit. If that's not enough sold comps, if you need more than that, you can zoom out to get more. Now I have 34 to choose from. I can sort this by price, you know, and I can see there's actually some cheaper properties, but TBD means to be built or something like that, maybe, to be determined. And so that might be a little weird, but you can zoom in to get more. And you might also want to do more filters like bedrooms and baths. You might want to do, okay, 2 to 3 bedrooms. It has to only be a house, and the square footage has to be between 1,750 and 2,000. And then if you click on that, sometimes it filters too many out, and then you have to really zoom out to get enough results. So here are 5 results, and that might be good, you know, but that's just what you got to play with it and see what works or not. Okay. There's something else I was going to show you with Redfin. Oh yes, you want to look at active properties. So let me remove these filters that I had here. And you want to always make sure that your actives, if you were to offer on this example 160 to the seller, will you be able to sell it for 170 or 175? What's your competition look like? And I also like Redfin for this as well, because I can say, all right, just show me the active listings. I'm going to click apply filters, and I can sort this from low to high, and I see, all right, well, there's a 210, 229. I think if I sell it or advertise it for 175, I'm probably going to get a lot of interest in this thing, right? If I'm not getting enough listings, I can zoom out to get more. You just want to see what your competition is when you're making a cash offer. Are you going to be trying to sell your property for more than what other people are selling theirs? Makes sense. So really good with Redfin. You can do a lot of things with that. And you can also download this stuff here, this table, into a spreadsheet. You can download it into a spreadsheet and play with it and manipulate it. What I like to do is to have my VA download that spreadsheet and add it to my CRM. Cool. Let's go back here to this spreadsheet. I want to show you how I would make a lease option offer really quickly. The ARV, and by the way, I'm going to answer your questions in just a minute. So if you've got questions, please type them in the comments, whether you're watching us on YouTube, Facebook, or whatever. Type in your questions, even Periscope, and I will answer your questions here in just a minute. And if you want this spreadsheet, give me a thumbs up, like this video, and say, hey, please give me the spreadsheet, and I will add it to the comments. If I don't get anybody that says that, maybe you don't want the spreadsheet, maybe you don't care, maybe it's not a big deal. All right. So anyway, to make a sandwich lease option offer, I'm going to start with the ARV, and the market rents are about $1,700. Now, what's interesting, I want to show you this too. In Zillow, it used to be pretty easy to find the rent zestimate. Now it's not, for some reason, because this property is listed, or just because it's weird, or because, I don't know, Keller Williams is, I don't know, whatever. I can't find, I looked and looked, and I could not find the rental zestimate on this property. So what I did, I put in the property, and I'm going to X out. And again, that property is right in the center of this map. I'm going to go here, and I'm going to change it from for sale, turn the for sale off, and I'm only looking at rentals. And what I'm going to do then is start zooming out till I get some rental comps. And here I have now just 2 rental comps. Let me zoom out again. Now I have 6 rental comps. I'm going to sort this from low to high, and I can see some similar properties in the area for $1,700, $1,700, $1,750, $2,000, $2,300, $3,000, but those are much bigger. I'm going to start with the lower end. I'm going to say I can probably rent this house for $1,700. Now, these are not sold rentals. These are just active rentals. So what I do is I put in here $1,700. Now, when I'm making a lease option offer, I'm going to offer them, this is important, pay attention here. I'm going to offer the same equity they would get if they sold with a realtor, and the same cash flow they would get if they hired a property manager. It's fair, isn't it? Very fair. But I'm going to take care of the property. I'm going to be the tenant. They don't have to worry about maintenance or vacancies and repairs anymore. I asked the seller, would you rather deal with the vacancies and the tenant management headaches yourself, or would you rather let me deal with the tenants for you? That's why I offer them a very fair price. And you might even, if it's a good hot market, you might even offer 90% of ARV. Let's just stick with 85%. Let's start there. That's the same equity they would get if they sold with a realtor. You could walk them through the numbers backwards. If you list it with a realtor, the average discount that people get from the original list price to the final sale price is about 5%. This is nationwide, and that's truth. In the hot market or cold market, you're going to have to pay a realtor 6% commissions. Then you're going to have miscellaneous costs of fixing it up, carrying costs while you're waiting to sell it. The buyer's going to get an inspection. There's going to be things you have to fix. There's closing costs. You add all of that up, you're really only going to net about 85% of your original list price. With a property manager, they're going to keep not just 10% of the rent, they keep 1 month's rent for each time, for each new tenant they place in there. And by the way, will your realtor make your mortgage payments while they're trying to sell it? Oh, they won't? No? Okay. Will a property manager make your mortgage payments for you when it's vacant? No. Will they, when it's vacant, do they actually even charge you another month's rent when you have to get a new tenant? Yeah. So when a faucet leaks or the toilet breaks or whatever, will the property management company pay for those repairs? No, they won't. They charge you, and they upcharge you. They charge a fee on top of that. That's crazy. Why would somebody want to do that? Right? So anyway, I offer a sandwich lease option where I'll take care of all that. And you know why I do that? Because I can make very good money with that. And I'm going to show you here on this spreadsheet. So I'm going to offer the seller an option price of $230. So I go from a cash price of $160 to a lease option offer of $230. And I'm going to offer them $1,275 a month in rent. I'm going to put $1,000 down. By the way, does that come out of my pocket? No. I give the seller that money after I get the money from the tenant buyer. And I want to do 5 years. That's where I'm going to start. Now, how do I advertise it? Well, I hope you can see this all right. I'm going to zoom in a little even more. I'm going to advertise it based conservative 2% appreciation a year. So in 2 years, a property is going to be worth about $282,000. I'm going to charge $1,700 a month in rent. And I'm going to charge a 3% option deposit fee. I'm going to get about $8,500 up front, of which from that, I'm going to give $1,000 to the seller. And I'm going to do 2 years. So if I'm just doing $425 a month in cash flow over 24 months, I'm going to be making $10,200 in cash flow over the life of this lease option. My back end equity is a nice $51,000. Now, what does that mean? That's the difference in what I'm selling it to my tenant buyer for and what I'm buying it from the seller for. So I'm going to make $51,000. If you total up, my total profit on this deal is almost $62,000 for doing a lease option on it. That is pretty stinking good. And how much money did I use of my own money to do a lease option on that property? Zero. Did I go out and get a loan? Did I take over a mortgage? Did I get any private money? Did I get any hard money? No. Do I need to put anything into this property to clean it up and fix it up? No. And the sellers already said in that marketing that we first sent to them that they would consider a lease purchase. All right. Now, you can always negotiate on this price too. Like, let's say you do 90% of ARV. I'm still going to make $48,000 on this property. So I might say, they can say, I can't give you $244,000 for it. And I said, well, okay, maybe I can pay you, instead of $1,275 a month in rent, I'll get you the $245 that you want, but I'll pay you $1,100 a month in rent. So you can negotiate three things: the price, the monthly rent that you pay them, or the term, the number of years. There's a fourth thing you can also negotiate. You can negotiate rent credits. So you could say to the seller, well, all right, I'll give you 75% of the rent. I'll give you $1,275. But every month I pay the rent on time, you give me $500 a month credit to reduce the price of the home. So you can negotiate price, the rent, the term, like number of years, and even a rent credit for every month you pay the rent on time. Make sense? And the cool thing too is that this tenant buyer, let's say they can't buy it in 2 years, and I hope they do. I only put tenant buyers who have a realistic chance of getting a mortgage in a couple years. Let's say they don't buy it. Let's say they just say, you know what, we're going to move, and this happens sometimes. They get a divorce, or they just decide we don't want to buy it, we're going to buy something else, and they leave. Guess what? That option deposit money, that $8,500 that they put down up front, that is non-refundable. It comes back to me, and it stays in my pocket, and I put a new tenant buyer in there because this is a nice area. I'll get somebody really quick. And then, again, I'm going to make another $8,000 or something from that option deposit money they put down up front. I don't have to escrow that. I do have to credit the tenant buyer that money back when they buy the house, if and when they buy the house. What if none of the tenant buyers that I put into the house buy it? Now, all of a sudden, we're at the end of the 5 years. Well, there's a couple things I could do. Remember, it's a lease option. I don't have to buy the house. I may decide, you know what, this house is worth, let's say it's 5 years, this house is worth $300,000 now. I have an option to buy it for $245,000. So there's about $55,000 in equity in that house. Maybe, you know what, I decide I'm going to buy it. So I could go get a loan and I could buy it. Or I could stick it back on the MLS and list it for sale. I could sell it for maybe a quick, if it's going to be worth $300,000 in 5 years, I could sell it for a quick $280,000, $290,000, and then make a good $40,000 back end spread there, profit, even after real estate commissions. Or there's just a lot of things. I could just walk away. I could say, you know what, I'm sorry, my lease option is up. I've decided I don't want to buy it, and I could give it back to the owner. Probably wouldn't do that because there's not a lot of equity in there. But I'd find a way. I mean, that's a beautiful thing about lease options. You can walk away from a deal if you want. Now, one more scenario I'm going to share with you. What if they will not take the sandwich lease option offer? What if they will not take $244,000 for the property? I might do a wholesaling lease option deal. And this is where I will give the seller whatever price they want. And so here what I did is they were asking $275,000. So I did a little discount here. I said, well, could you take, $267,000? And they say, yeah, we could do $267,000 on a lease option. Say, all right, well, I'll give you $267,000 and $1,700 a month in rent for 2 years as a lease option. Is that cool? And they say, yeah, great, that's awesome. Then I'm going to turn around and advertise that property. I'm going to bump it up 3%, and I'm going to advertise it for $275,000 lease option with 3%. I'm going to say, Rent to own, $275,000, which by the way is close to what they're currently advertising it for, right? It's okay. Like if they're advertising it for 275, I might advertise it for 280 as a lease option. Not a big deal if it's a little bump. But guess who keeps this $8,200? I do, as an assignment fee. Now, sometimes I'll offer the seller, I'll say, hey, listen, I'll give you 1 month's rent. So I'm actually going to make this minus this. I'll make a $6,500 assignment fee doing a wholesaling lease option on this deal. And there's a realtor involved, Joe. So how does a realtor get paid? You know what? It doesn't matter to me. I don't know. I don't care. Because the seller has a listing agreement with their realtor. They need to work it out with themselves. Okay? So I know you probably have some questions about this. So please ask away. I'm going to go back to my thing here and not show my screen anymore. So let me see your comments and let me know what you like. DeAndre says, I would love the spreadsheet. Thanks. Okay. Who wants that spreadsheet? If you want it, type in the comments, I want it. And give me a thumbs up, like this video. Kelvin knows what's up. I want the spreadsheet. All right, good. Michael, nice info, Joe. Thank you for the kind words. Kelvin says, can I partner with you, or how can I partner with you on lease options in Houston, Texas? We partner with our coaching clients on deals. So if you're interested in getting some coaching, getting some help, go to coachjoe.net. coachjoe.net if you want to get some information about working with us. Cool? There's a little dust on my screen, and it looked like it was on my cheek, and I was going like this, but it wasn't on my cheek. Anyway, sorry. Please give me the spreadsheet. Okay, I will. Kevin Hicks, I want the spreadsheet, Joe. I will. Thank you. Thank you. Sean wants to copy the spreadsheet. Kane? Yes, please spreadsheet. I will. Oh, come on. I feel the love. All right. You guys like my spreadsheets. I will give it to you. Yes, yes, yes. Chris, of course, I'll send you the spreadsheet. Tamika, of course. Thank you, guys. Kelly, I want the spreadsheet. All right. Nice. Come on, Angel. I want the spreadsheet. I want it too. I'll give it to you all. Okay. Oh, that's a good question from Zach. I like these questions, guys. Keep them coming. This Zoom is weird on my camera. Maybe I should scoot back a little bit. I don't know. So anyway, I'm sitting on my lazy boy chair, and this camera's on my laptop, and it's a little bouncy, so it's very unprofessional. I'm sorry. I am wearing a lapel mic. Look at that. The sound is way better when I do this. Okay, so we're gonna start. I'm good. I'm starting to get some questions. I love answering questions. So why would the seller take a sandwich lease option versus a wholesaling lease option, since the wholesaling lease option price is more? Very good question. But here's the thing. I will not offer a wholesaling lease option unless they say no to the sandwich lease option. But here's a big reason why they would accept it. I'm going to stay in the middle. I call it my perfect tenant program. I will be the tenant. I will take care of all of the landlord headaches. You don't have to worry about them anymore. I'm going to take care of the vacancies and the maintenance and repairs. Okay? That's it. That's why they would take it. Now, sometimes, yeah, they look at those two price differences. So if they say no, they don't like my price at the lower end, I'll say, what if I could get you more, but I'll just assign or sell my contract to a tenant buyer. I'll keep their option deposit as my fee. That wouldn't work for you, would it? I always do the what if I could do this, could you do that? If they want something, then I take something. Like, it's a negotiating process. Does that make sense? Is the option price arranged on the contract when setting up the lease option? Yes, it is. Good question. The option price is always, everything is up front. Everything is fully disclosed. Everybody knows what's everybody's going on, and there's nothing hidden. We disclose everything. Good question. I am a realtor. Would that help? Is it allowed to negotiate without having a property manager's license? Well, if you're a realtor, depending on the states, that you're in, the state that you're in, usually there's not a separate property manager's license. Maybe I'm wrong. I know in Missouri, I don't think, I take that back, there might be. But a property manager has to be licensed as a realtor. In fact, there's one state, though, in Maryland. I don't think Maryland, Baltimore. I don't think you have to be licensed to be a property manager. So every state is different. Just check it out. But I always approach these deals as an investor. So I want to stay in the middle of these deals, okay? I don't try to, I don't broker, even though I have my realtor's license. I'm not brokering. That's illegal. You can't broker without a license. So, but I approach these deals as an investment. So I'm buying it and leasing it for sale by owner, and I'm selling it and leasing it for sale by owner. Does that make sense? Good question. Come on, Kendrick. You want the spreadsheet. As soon as I'm done, I will put the link to that spreadsheet in the comments down below. Give me some thumbs up, guys. Thumbs up if you like this video, if you want me to keep on doing this. Appreciate it. All right, question from Michael. How do you explain to the other tenant, how do you explain the other tenant to the seller when he or she thought you were the one leading or leasing the property? I don't know. It's not that big of a deal. I tell them this. I'm an investor. This is not. I'm not going to be living in the property. Sometimes I'll phrase my initial question to the seller like this: what if me or one of my buyers could lease your property for a period of time, take care of the day-to-day maintenance and repairs, and then buy the property? You won't have to pay any commissions. What would you want to do then? Or you could say, is there any reason why we wouldn't be able to do business today? As one of my coaches and mentors likes to say, we are in business to make money today. We are in business to make money today. So you ask yourself these questions. Well, what if I could do that? Could we do business today? I am trying to find something here so I can zoom out. Oh, that's better. I'm trying to zoom out a little bit so that I don't feel like my head is being blocked by the comments here. So Angel is saying in Florida there is a separate license for property management. Good. Well, if you want to get one, get one. I'd recommend just doing these deals as a investor. So this is a really long question. Hello, everybody. Can you see my bald head there? So I will, that's funny. I will read it instead. Joe, I'm a little confused. Can you please tell me, do you get title insurance or a title search for each of your lease options that you assign? No, I do not. Sometimes I'll do a preliminary title search, but I do not get title insurance, definitely. If it's a sandwich lease option that I'm staying in the middle of, then yes, I'm going to get a preliminary title search done. And I don't do that until I find the tenant buyer, because if I can't find a tenant buyer, then I'm not going to do the deal. Do you work with an attorney on each deal? No, I do not. Or if you were not a realtor, would you then have a realtor that helps with tenant buyers do the signings for the tenant? Okay, so if you're not licensed, I recommend you hire a leasing agent or a realtor to market your homes for you. It's one of the first things you need to outsource anyway, so why not outsource it to a realtor? Find a realtor to market your properties for you. Good questions, Mike. Frank, boom, baby. Another question from Mike. Can the lease option be assigned back to the seller once you find the tenant buyer, like in your, okay. I used to teach it where I would, and maybe I have an old YouTube video out there talking about this, but I used to do a lease option with the tenant buyer and then assign that to the seller. And I don't do that anymore. It's too confusing, too many steps involved. I sign an A to B lease option contract with the seller, and then I assign that and I sell that to the tenant buyer, and I'm out of the deal. That's a wholesaling lease option deal. That's a lease option assignment. So so I don't know if that answers the question. You can assign it either way. It's just, it's easier to do an A to B lease option contract with the seller and then assign that contract to the tenant buyer, just like wholesaling. You have a contract to buy a property with the owner. You can sell that contract to an investor to a cash buyer. Oh, I have a phone call I'm late for. I got to hurry up. One more question from Mike. One more question from Mike. What do you do to ensure angry sellers and tenant buyers will not try to sue you if the deal does not go through? Okay, let me just say this, Mike. Be careful, be very careful with anticipatory questions. This is a real situation you're facing right now? Great question. But you got to be, if these kinds of questions are holding you back from actually doing any marketing, talking to any sellers and making any offers, you got to be real careful, because and I may be totally not reading you correctly, but you got to be super careful with anticipatory thinking of always asking what if questions, because most of the time that stuff never happens. And you can be stuck in paralysis of analysis forever, and you can be professional student and never make any money doing deals. Now, this is a good question. I will answer it, but I'm just saying I see this over and over again. And I was like this myself, asking all of these what if questions, and I was paralyzed in over analytical mode, and I never took any action until I just trusted the system. Then I started making money. I started doing the marketing, talking to sellers, and making offers. So what do you do to ensure that angry sellers and tenant buyers will not try to sue you? You can't. You can never protect yourself from being sued. In fact, this is going to maybe scare some of you guys. If you haven't been sued yet or been threatened to be sued, you have not been in the business long enough and you've not done enough deals. Just the way it goes. We're in a litigious society. It's completely sucks. It's completely unfair. But if you have not been sued yet, or if you've not been threatened to be sued, you have not been in the business long enough and you've not done enough deals. It's going to happen. So there's nothing you can do to prevent it. The biggest thing you can do to prevent lawsuits is not be a jerk. Just be nice and fully disclose everything. That's the best way to ensure that you won't get sued. You can get insurance, and that's good, but they'll still sue you. You can still have LLCs and asset protection, and that's good, but you'll still be sued. So, or you can just not do any deals and not take any risk and never quit your job and never work for yourself and never have financial freedom. So anyway, have you ever been sued by an angry seller? Yes. But it was fine. We settled. A couple of them were thrown out. You had some more questions about credit repair. I'm not sure I understand that. But now I use a third-party escrow company to also protect against lawsuits, so that the tenant, when they pay their rent, it's going to a third-party escrow company. That escrow company pays the mortgage, so you don't have to worry about the seller not paying the mortgage. Good questions, Mike. I hope you don't take offense at what I'm saying. But be careful with analysis paralysis, anticipatory thinking, that you don't make any money always worried about the what ifs scenarios out there. You should be asking, what next? Now that I've done this, what's the next thing I got to do? And after I do that, okay, now what's the next thing I do? I just did this. What's the next thing? I did that. Now what's the next thing? That's the definition of success. I might have been totally wrong. Mike probably does 100 deals a month. Okay. Joe, do you find the data source behind PropStream is kept pretty current compared to RealQuest and others? I'm frustrated with the MLS data on PropStream a little bit. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. But I find the data that they get from county records is usually really good. You're welcome. Is it necessary to record the option? Good question. I record the option on sandwich lease option deals, not on lease option assignments or wholesaling lease option deals. What are the best ways to find tenant buyers? Good questions. Get my book. I don't have my book with me. WLObook.com, WLObook.com, and I teach you how to find tenant buyers in that book. Or go to watch my webinar tonight, SLOclass.com, and I'm going to show you how to find tenant buyers. My next one is tonight, Tuesday, 10 p.m. Eastern, SLOclass.com. And if you're watching this later, go to SLOclass.com to see when the next one is. I'm so glad you asked that question. Because I'm going to answer it. It's in my book, and I'm going to be on the webinar tonight. Joe, I thought the sign back to buyer was so the seller will be able to use the option fee as their down payment. Yeah, that's kind of it, but it doesn't really. It still confuses people, right? I always had a hard time explaining it, and I talked to my mortgage broker, and he said, "Well, just do it this way; it's easier." So I did what my mortgage broker said. What name should the title be taken of? Well, Gerald, if you're doing lease options, I just put it in my LLC. What if the seller doesn't want to manage property on a wholesale lease option? Then I'll do my sandwich lease option. Good question, Kevin. If they don't want to manage the property and deal with the tenants, that's why I offer the sandwich lease option offer. Let me do that for you. And you know what, too? When I'm talking to sellers, I say, listen, why don't you just list it with a realtor and sell it? Just list it with an agent. Sounds like a nice house. Why haven't you sold it yet? Sounds like a nice house. Why would you even want to sell it? I go for no when I'm talking to sellers. I want them to say no so I can get off the phone and talk to another seller who'll say yes. And when you ask that question, why don't you just list it with a realtor and you start pulling away, you're not desperately chasing them for the deal. It's like, oh man, I don't want to list it with an agent. It's expensive. It's frustrating. I don't like realtors. I don't want to pay them all that commission, blah, 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 blah. See, it's positioning. It's asking questions. So I would say to the seller, do you want to deal with the tenant hassles and headaches of management, vacancies, and repairs? Or would you rather me deal with the tenant for you? Donnie, good question. Do you record with a memorandum of option? If I'm doing a sandwich lease option, I do. On a lease option assignment or a wholesaling lease option, I do not. But I do put a clause in the contract that says the tenant buyer can only with written permission from the owner. So if the owner allows it, that's fine. Mike's saying, thank you for the answers. You're welcome, Mike. You did not say if the realtor does the signing of all the paperwork, and what if the seller does not want to use an escrow company? Good question. I don't let the realtor. I mean, maybe I'll let the realtor do some of the paperwork, but I want to be involved with that. I have to sign it, so I'm going to do the paperwork, and it's my contracts. I don't want the realtor to use their contracts. They're going to be so I'll do the paperwork and handle that. If the seller doesn't want to use an escrow company, I've had that happen before, and sometimes they don't have a mortgage, so that's fine. But I really push hard for that. And when I explain it the right way, the sellers will want it. Because I tell them, you just don't want to deal with it and hassle with it, right? But sometimes they're like, no, I want the money. So I will do that occasionally, but the seller has to be willing to give a copy of the current latest mortgage statement to the tenant buyer whenever they ask for it, or me. Now, if I'm doing a sandwich lease option, you bet I'm going to be making the mortgage payment myself. I'm not going to send it to the seller. But if it's a lease option assignment, I'll put something in the contract that says, okay, Mr. Seller, you can collect the rent and pay the mortgage, but you have to give a copy of the mortgage statement, current mortgage statement, to the tenant buyer whenever they ask for it. You just don't want to. You want to avoid that situation where the tenant buyer's been paying their rent, and all of a sudden they get a knock on the door. The house is in foreclosure because the seller hasn't made their mortgage payment in 3 years or 3 months. It might be a deal killer. Kind of depends on their situation. You're welcome, Kevin. Thank you. Which is harder, finding sellers or tenant buyers? Good question. Matter of perspective. I think finding sellers is harder. It's funny though. I tell this story a lot. This really happened. I had two students in the same city within a couple days of each other call me. One said they were complaining. I have tons of sellers, but I can't find any buyers. This isn't working. Tons of sellers, no buyers. The other guy called a day later, same city. I have tons of buyers, but no sellers. They were both complaining about completely opposite problems in the same market within a few days of each other. Of course, I put them together. I said, you guys need to talk about this because maybe you can partner on some of these deals together. So it's just a matter of perspective. I will say this, if you have a good property under a lease option contract, if you have not found a buyer within 3 to 4 weeks, something is wrong. It's usually It's overpriced or you're not marketing the property right. Even a junky, crappy property will sell really quickly as a lease option if the price is right. So you just got to make sure you're in that median price range. You're not trying to get $1,300 a month in rent when the market rents in that area are $1,200. You just got to keep it in the median price range. Other than paperwork, what else is different doing lease options in Texas? You can't do sandwich lease options in Texas, but I recommend doing land contracts instead. And in my course at sloclass.com, I have a section in my course that where I teach the land contracts. sloclass.com. I'm in North Carolina. Do you have a memorandum of option? Derek, in my course, I have a section dealing with North Carolina, a little section. You just need there's some disclosure that you need to have. And you can find that from your local RIAs. You can do lease options in North Carolina. You just got to make sure you have the right disclosures and all of that. Not a big deal. You're welcome, Mike. A couple more questions, guys. Oh, shoot. Sorry. Right there. Kevin, if you have a promissory note with the tenant buyer for part of their option fee, what if they default? What do you do? There's not much you can do. You can try to collect. Yeah, but it's one of those things where it's just, I guess you don't want to buy the house. Now, what money did I sucks, but like, how much money did I lose from that? I didn't lose anything. So it's just kind of like, should I always look for a local attorney and escrow company in a different market? If you want to. The escrow company I use is one of two of them, and I give them away in my course. But always try to get a local attorney who's investor friendly, who understands creative real estate, okay? Yes, if you can. Derek, you're welcome. One more question, guys. Thank you, Joe. Is this different from the wholesaling lease options course? Great question. Glad you asked. What is she talking about? On my class, sloclass.com, I've updated all my lease option courses. I used to have 3 different courses: wholesaling lease options, sandwich lease options, and virtual lease option deals. I've combined them all into simple lease options, which is pretty exciting. And you want more information, I'm doing a live webinar tonight at sloclass.com, and I do them a lot now. I'm starting to do them a lot more. So go check that out. And if you want the spreadsheet, if you watch this video and you saw me do this spreadsheet, well, I can't show you right now, but if you saw me do the spreadsheet and you want some love, show me some love. Say, Joe, give me the spreadsheet, give me a thumbs up and like this video, and I will add the link to that spreadsheet in the comments in just a couple minutes here, all right? Appreciate you guys very much. Thank you for the kind words, good questions, and I appreciate you guys very much. See ya. Bye-bye.